Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you another video. All right, so it's a lot of talk going around about Kyrie Irving re-signing with the Mavericks and the Lakers, trying to move on with D'Lo going forward. And I just wanted to weigh in on the topic. I think for me, in my own mindset in regards to Kyrie, I've almost moved on in the short term. That's where I'm at. It's like, okay, we got to finish out the season, and we didn't get him, so he's a Maverick, and that's the course of everything. That's literally everything to look at. Because anything after that is just up to free agency, how players, ultimately negotiate with certain teams, what teams free up cap space and things of that nature can change the entire landscape. So you really don't have the same thing that you're looking at in regards to the field itself and how you want to build, what players fit with whom and how. The importance of bringing in Kyrie Irving was to help us win a championship this year. That was the intention. And then from there, it was about whether Jeannie Buss wanted to move forward with the negotiation process. So the intensity for us was to get him here now to help Bron. Well, the Lakers found another avenue since he wasn't able to put himself in a position to work on a trade to get him here. Since they weren't able to get any, Rob Pelinka wasn't able to get a trade going. Now it's just about, okay, let's just see where we're at with the team that we have. We have a lot of young talent here. Like I said about D'Lo a few days ago, he's put himself in a strong position to present as a leader, someone, a vocal leader in the locker room, so to speak, someone who's making his presence known and trying to get to know his teammates, trying to get their attention on both sides of the floor in regards to how he's playing and leading by example. So when you start to see a guy that you drafted return to you basically as a good version of the player that you were hoping he would become, possibly still on that same trajectory upwards, having you just simply skip 6 years of basically his development and start of his prime, you feel like you're getting D'Lo at a good time. At 26 years of age, he's a lot younger than Kyrie Irving. And not only that, but he can play the two guard. So he doesn't get in the way of your plans to get Kyrie Irving if for some reason you want to keep both players. Now, I don't love them in the backcourt. In fact, I don't like that at all. If D'Lo's not going to improve as a fantastic defender, which I don't anticipate him doing. I know he's playing good defense, but he's going to turn to somebody else if I want to slot him next to Kyrie Irving permanently. Somebody's going to be coming off the bench, and they are way too good, either one of them, to be coming off the bench. So then it becomes about who you want. And I think with the Los Angeles Lakers, it's just obvious that they want to keep D'Lo on this team. They went and got him back. They initially drafted him. And he really is a taller and younger player. So that's what it really comes down to, is the youth. The Lakers are thinking about what happens after Bron leaves, after AD leaves. And I think Kyrie Irving's a piece that's supposed to be here for LeBron James. If I didn't say LeBron James, I probably said Kyrie, but that's what I mean, LBJ. I think Kyrie's supposed to help James in his timeline. But if we're moving forward with a player like D'Lo, he's supposed to be for a simultaneous timeline, both James and without him. So that's how I'm looking at it. I think they see D'Lo as a long-term piece that can kind of develop into a starting, all-star point guard for them. And if for some reason Bron retires and moves on to a different team, we can have him and AD in place and a bunch of cap space to continue to build. Or maybe use one of those two players as a trade piece to continue to get better. I think they wonder if Kyrie Irving is going to have that same resale value, retrade value rather. Or if a contract with Kyrie Irving would turn out to be not as good of an investment based on some of the history or what have you. It's injury history, it's whatever. You know what I mean? So those type of things could be working against the Lakers, particularly wanting to give Kyrie a long-term contract, regardless of what was going on with D'Angelo Russell. Now, if the Lakers would not have been able to acquire D'Angelo Russell, I think you wouldn't be hearing anything of them not wanting to do any negotiations with Kyrie Irving, or rather wanting to move forward without him in plans. But given the fact that they were able to land D'Lo, and now he's gotten in here and it's gotten to a good start, I just think it's natural that this type of news would be released. Why would this type of news be released, in my humble opinion? Well, to tell the truth, maybe for one, you always want to look at what's on the surface. It's right there. They're saying they want to move forward with D'Lo, and they're not looking forward to moving. They're not doing anything with Kyrie. Declarations to put themselves in a position of strength in regards to their intentions. However, negotiations. That is why this information is being released, in my opinion. This is posturing of negotiations. For negotiation, rather. I think that there is probably a side, whether it be the Mavericks or the Lakers or Kyrie Irving's representation, or maybe D'Angelo Russell's representation, that wants the Lakers to appear as if this is the news for the betterment of their particular circumstance. This news can help get D'Lo a higher negotiation process with different teams other than the Lakers, because what you would see is the high demand on D'Lo's name. So you'd be like, oh, if you're a team that wants D'Lo, they already telling you they about to negotiate and move forward with him, so you got to pay top dollar for D'Angelo Russell. So if I'm D'Lo's representation, I probably don't mind this news coming out, right? That's one angle. As I further scan over, I'm saying, okay, I don't think this benefits Kyrie Irving very much if he's trying to get it back from Jeannie Buss. Maybe this is coming from inside the Laker organization, one of the people who are in the Knights of the Round Table, or Jeannie herself, who don't want to negotiate with Kyrie but know that the fan base wouldn't mind him being here. That kind of thing. Maybe knows LeBron James definitely wants him here but want to keep his price down. So they say they have D'Lo on a premium in their minds to keep Kyrie's value under what it is he would otherwise ask for if he were to come knocking on our door. And, it's just one of those situations where maybe Dallas is trying to get a head start on Kyrie Irving, so they want to make it known that the Lakers are not interested in him and are more so interested in keeping their own guy, D'Angelo Russell. And maybe the Lakers aren't even releasing that information or even saying that. But it probably doesn't benefit the Lakers to deny that, because it then puts him in a strange position in regards to D'Angelo Russell. So these are the type of things that could be possible. And because I know that, I just stand here telling you guys I'm speculating. I don't know what the heck. But what I can say is these are the things to look at when news gets dropped about what a team wants to do with a guy, or whether or not they're interested in keeping a guy, or whether or not they're interested in getting another guy, or what have you, So that's what I wanted to weigh in on. Now, my opinion is if we can get Kyrie Irving at a price that makes sense, he's a player that we should pair with LeBron James so long as he's here. D'Angelo Russell is a player we should keep beyond the shadow of a doubt. He's my two guard. I wouldn't think twice about it. He needs to be on the team because I trust him. I trust him to close. I trust him because I know he's going to hit big shots. I trust him because I believe he's a way above average passer who can morph into a facilitating player who can, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think he has some James Harden in his ceiling. I'm not saying he's going to be able to cook people and mix you up like James, because James has a certain level of strength and upper body push that allows him to get past people. He has a certain level of quickness and a certain genius about him that allows him to establish a great deal of statistics and morph into wherever it needs to be. And I just think James Harden is one of the greatest players ever. If he can get a ring or two under his belt, he'll be solidified for real. But until he gets that ring, he's not going to be respected like I actually respect his game. So I'm not saying D'Lo's about to turn into James Harden. But what I'm telling you is I believe D'Lo can turn into somebody that can facilitate the ball more so than he's ever been asked to do if need be. One of the things I'm seeing Laker fans talk about is how D'Lo doesn't pass much, Schroeder doesn't pass much. I beg to differ. I think Schroeder can pass more too if you ask him to. These guys are playmakers if they want to be. Schroeder less, even though he does get some good assists here and there. We've had 10 assist games. Even in that bad game in the last one, he had 6 assists, which would be fine if he gave you his regular point total. But what you want to see is those guys turn into natural-born facilitators at will. Morph into like James Harden's doing now. It's like I'm passing first, second, and I can shoot anytime I want because I mastered my shot. Tyrese Halliburton type of stuff. Can D'Lo give me a little bit of that? Can he morph into something like that? To a lesser degree, obviously, because Tyler Halliburton is something else. But, can he give me some of that? Can he up his assist total to two assists more so or whatever on this team with all these guys that need the ball? Because that's what it is for us. We need our guys to facilitate because that's what Russell did for us, and we really benefited a great deal from that production in that particular way. Getting other guys going, getting AD going. That's what I want to see from D'Lo. If he can do that, and if he can turn into that type of player while maintaining that locker room respect, I don't see any reason why we can't pay his salary. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want him for 4 years or 4 years with a player option or what have you. I don't know what the framework would be and what the number would be. But if you can get him at a good price, that's not somebody to let walk away from your organization. Not if you have the pieces in place that can, put him in a position to look good out there, which I do believe we have. Now, the question I do have, though, this is not about D'Lo. It's about the other guards on the team. Particularly, it's like Lonnie Walker. I look at Lonnie Walker, and I'm not so sure if the Lakers have the role for him. And if it made no sense to not have just traded him this offseason, or rather this past deadline. I like Lonnie as much as the next guy and want to see him at his highest peak. But I don't know that he's not in a logjam that's going to have him not even playing very much just by default right now. And I don't like that at all. He's way too good of a player to not get nothing for him. And he's way too good of a player to have his value decrease on the back of his bench. Now, with Max Christie, you can get away with that because he's an undrafted or a second-round rookie, rather. So, if you don't play him, ain't nobody going to look at you crazy. But a guy like Lonnie who's been in the league for about 5 years, who's playing well and he's on a contract for you, who really, really needed to get the hell out of here right now in order to show what he can do if he's not going to start or play meaningful minutes, I think it's something that the Lakers should take a look at in regards to trying to get him worked into the equation more so in lineups that make him make sense so he can play the 2 guard and shoot the ball as much as he needs to. Don't have him at the 3 or the 4 or the 1. Put him at the 2 and then let him do what he does so he can, just like Dennis Schroeder and a lot of these other guys, play for his contract. So I don't want to see Lonnie get dealt a bad hand like that. Especially when some of the guys who are playing ahead of him are set for the next two years. Like they own contract. Come on now. So that's one thing. I think we just got to make it make sense out there. Because we can't keep letting assets walk out the door and value decrease on our team. That's one of the things we're trying to defeat from letting happen. So we're going to pay attention to how Darvin uses Lonnie Walker. It's only a mistake we didn't trade him if Darvin can't work him in properly. But if Darvin doesn't work him in properly, we got some problems. So that's just a part of the issue. The logjam is there for this roster. But, there's a couple things I just wanted to talk about. I didn't want to pull you guys too far away from what we're doing here in regards to focusing on this particular game that's ahead with the Pelicans. But, there were some things to talk about. I definitely appreciate, just circling back, just what I see from D'Angelo Russell on this team right now. And in regards to Kyrie Irving, bringing him in, I look at the Dennis Schroeder piece and I say, that's kind of who Kyrie would be. You just want him to upgrade the Schroeder position next season. And that's a hell of a price tag to play for the Schroeder role. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what it becomes, a situation where does the roster make sense as much as it did pre-trade to target Kyrie Irving based on the type of players that we have right now? So that's the question. Especially if we're keeping D'Lo. I just don't know that D'Lo and Kyrie Irving, though extremely talented, extremely offensively gifted, won't ultimately just find themselves cooked defensively if they're both the 2 players in the backcourt. They're going to be doing a lot of cooking, super cooking. But in playoff situations and half-court settings when the game is tied, you trust them to hit free throws and make plays on the offensive side. But it's going to be a problem defensively when you have to have them on the floor. It could depend on the matchup, depend on who they're going up against. You do not want that. You do not want that. And that's just what we understand. So, you know what I'm saying? It's tricky. You only want one of those 2 guys. It was the same thing we said about Lonzo Ball. And this is one of the things that I think is relevant. This is very relevant because I had forgotten about this. D'Lo was actually traded because we were bringing in Lonzo Ball. That was what it was. And we had the idea that Lonzo couldn't play defense, which was unbelievably misguided. That is what actually got D'Lo traded, Laker Nation. That's what happened. BDF 44 had just forgotten that. That's what happened. We were thinking Lonzo and D'Lo are not defensive players. So if you have both of them in the backcourt together, essentially they're going to be both getting cooked. And D'Lo's a better defender we gave him credit for. And Lonzo's one of the best point guards defensively out there. Probably top 15 when he's healthy. So it's like, he's actually better than that. When he's healthy, he's better than that. But like, come on, man. I just think the misevaluation of talent that year is incredibly glaring when we look back on it. I ain't gonna lie to you. We were really, really clueless back then. We've grown a lot as an organization. But nevertheless, that is the idea. Like Lonzo and D'Lo, you didn't want D'Lo and Kyrie together. That's essentially what you don't want. So that's what I want to say, man. I had completely forgotten about that. Like, man, we could have totally paired them together. Are we crazy for that? First of all, we should have wanted Jason Tatum any damn way, regardless. Lonzo should not have been drafted. I was the biggest Lonzo supporter, biggest draft Lonzo guy there was. And I'm telling you, I'm not walking away from everybody else when they say Tatum should have went first. It goes without saying. We know that. Everybody knows that. I knew it that day. I knew it that day. I was just moving with my heart and didn't know the reason for not wanting to, or for having to not want to, I guess is what you should say. I don't know how to word that. But I shouldn't have. And so there it is, man. I don't think any of us should have. I don't know what Magic was thinking, other than he sees himself in this kid. You should have seen something else in Jason Tatum. What was we thinking? Jason Tatum was a Laker fan, too. That's what made it so horrible. It's like we really just passed on a better player just because, huh? Because his dad's dope, right? They got a dope daddy, so we all just want to roll with that. Man. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's one of the ones I will always regret. We will always regret that. And we still love Lonzo. Got a lot of love for Lonzo. Hope he come back healthy, strong. Still think he can turn into something very special, but not Jason Tatum special. Not Jason Tatum special. But I tell you what, we got it right with D'Lo when we drafted him. He was the second overall draft choice behind, who was it, Karl Anthony Towns that year? I think that makes sense. And then Ben Simmons was in there. I think that's how that went. I don't remember. But I'm happy we got D'Lo, man. Nah, that wasn't the Ben Simmons year, was it? Yeah, it was, I think. No, that was Okafor. Gosh, I don't know. It's been a long time, man. It was like 9 years ago. But either way, Karl Towns, Okafor, D'Lo. We passed on Okafor, got D'Lo. Very happy we did that. It's the right move. I think right now the right move for the Lakers is just find a rotation that allows for D'Angelo Russell to facilitate a bit more. Have him be the primary point guard. Try one of many shooting guards, depending on the matchup. Because we got a bunch of shooting guards, dude. So you got to try different ones. And Darvin being locked in to Dennis Schroeder and D'Lo, I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to do it sometimes, but it does hurt the cause for the people who want D'Lo and Kyrie on the same team. I'll tell you that. Getting a look at this every night is going to make it so that we don't want Kyrie. That's what it's really going to do. Because you're going to think that Kyrie is going to have some of the same problems defensively that DS and D'Lo are going to have. So that's really one of those things where it's like, maybe Darvin should get out of that. He should really get out of that. I know he want to get Dennis Schroeder his bag. I'm not fooled by that. He's trying to get his boy his bag. But you got to, just like I said to Jeannie, you got to send people out there to look good. If you're going to give a person an opportunity to look terrible, you're not doing them any favors. You got to put them in positions to look great, or else it's not going to be perceived as an opportunity. So, depending on who they are, obviously. But that's what it is. I think in this case, you just got to put DS out there in the right situations. Put D'Lo out there next to the right running mate. And, respect that log jam that we got at that shooting guard position. So, that's where I'm at with it, man. I know that turned this into a Laker video. Kind of, I started off talking about Kyrie, but it is a Laker video, I guess, because we were talking about how Kyrie probably would not be a Laker. Now, I do think that there is a world where we don't negotiate with D'Lo. Maybe he gets it back somewhere else, and then we turn our attention to Kyrie Irving. And him going to Dallas, or rather staying in Dallas, I don't know. I'd have to see it further play out. I think they're still trying to figure out if they like playing one another or not, him and Luka. I don't think they figured it out yet. I think they love one another's game, but I don't know if they think one another's game mesh. I heard the quote that Luka said, we were passing each other, trying to get each other a shot, and nobody got a shot. So, but you know what? With Luka, I think he'll understand. And all you really need to do is study the Cleveland Cavalier footage from when he was down there with Bron. You're Bron, bro. Simply put, you can win with Kyrie Irving because you're Bron. So do what Bron did and win with Kyrie Irving. It's just that simple. That's why he brought him to you. And when people really look at it, it's like Luka and Kyrie can't play off one another. Why not? Luka's Bron. Why can't he win with Kyrie? Makes all the sense in the world to me now that I think about it. And when you zoom out and you understand that the only thing that really hurts the Dallas Mavericks is the style of play. They were Luka-centric. It wasn't that he didn't know how to play in a passing offense. He could play any offense in the world. And I think that's where we've all gotten lost with Luka Doncic. The Dallas Mavericks wanted to slow down the pace with Luka Doncic and make it so that he's playing at a slow pace in half-court settings and shooting because they realized he could kill it in those ways. He's excellent in those possessions, so it makes all the sense in the world to put him in them. But you don't have to play that way with him. He could be like Bron and pass like crazy, just like we said in regards to wanting D'Lo to do it. Just like we say in regards to Halliburton and James Harden morphing into a facilitator. I promise you, Luka Doncic can do that as well. I don't think there's too much that James Harden's doing in that regard that Luka Doncic can't do. If he had put in that position and told to do it, facilitate for our team, get as many assists as you can. The boy will break the assist record if he wants to. He's one of the most gifted passers in the league. So that's why I was like, they just got to learn how to play with one another, and Luka Doncic just got to go back and study that Cleveland stuff. Just go back and study the Cleveland stuff. Because it's not a my turn, your turn when you're LeBron. When you're playing like Bron and you're facilitating for everybody, like Luka's more than capable of doing, he does every night anyway, if you look at the stats, then that's it. He'll be fine. Literally fine. So I just kind of had an epiphany about those Dallas Mavericks as I was thinking about it a little earlier today, and I'm glad it just came to me now. I'm like, nah, they shouldn't have no problem playing together. All he got to do is learn how to play like Bron, and that's pretty much who he is anyway, ain't he? I mean, Luka's Bron, minus the athleticism and defensive intangibles that Bron often has, the chase down, block, and all that. Luka's a better shooting Bron. He shoots better, but I think they both suck from the free throw line. Does Luka suck from the free throw line? I think so. Either way, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they got the right idea from a basketball standpoint, putting those two together. I think it could work going forward. I just wonder if they can get the other pieces to make it make sense. And for goodness sakes, do something with Dwight Powell now, okay? I'm as I talked about in the last video, we're going to talk about it here. Dwight Powell, lifer for the Mavericks. It's time to take a back seat, brother. It's just time. I'm listening to the fans. It's just time. They got Kyrie in place now. It's Kyrie and Luka. It's time to win a championship. And you can't have him down there giving up layup lines and all kinds of stuff. If he's taking several steps backwards, he's a role player to begin with. He shouldn't be ran out there like he's Tyson Chandler or something like that. That's not who he is. So play Christian Wood and make Christian Wood defend. Somebody teach Christian Wood all of the defensive principles necessary so he can be a real playoff performer, because that's exactly what they need if they want to do something. If Christian Wood ain't going for 40 and 20 in the playoffs, Dallas ain't doing nothing. So they better teach that boy how to be good enough defender. That should be the first order of business. Remove Dwight Powell from the circumstance and increase and empower Christian Wood to be one of your most important pieces. If he has, why wouldn't you do that anyway? Why do I need to say that, Jason Kidd? So anyway, I ain't no Mavericks fan, but I do appreciate Kyrie, and I do want to see that work out until they run into us, the Los Angeles Lakers, of course. So that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I got to say about that. But, yeah, as far as our Laker fans, we got the Pelicans coming up. It ain't no joke. It's a Kobe minute. A salute, as always. And, we appreciate him. And it is what it is. D'Lo played with Kobe. Kyrie's Kobe's friend. It's all relevant. It's very relevant. I think what it is that I know Kobe was about, he would tell us he would want Kyrie on his team for sure, just from the sheer understanding that Kyrie can do things that with his footwork that's only comparable to people like Kobe. So I understand that. Comparable would be the word, but I understand that. I think for D'Lo, he would also want to see D'Lo on his team too, because he would understand that D'Lo has grown a great deal, and a lot of things that he taught D'Lo still has. And the path that D'Lo has taken through the NBA has made it so that he's played with the best, and he wants to see him have an extended opportunity with LeBron James, I would think. That's what I would want. From his perspective, that's what I want to see, is D'Lo have a chance to play with Bron for an extended period of time, to pick up what he needs to learn from him, so that he could take some of those intangibles and incorporate it into his game going forward. Because I'm a firm believer in D'Lo's upside, man. From here, I just know it. He's 26 years old. There's still an elevator up. I want to see D'Lo at 29. If he continues where he's at, stays out of any health issues of any kind, and stays as focused as he is and intent on learning and soaking up all this game from LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I want to see where he's headed, because I know he's gifted. I know he's special. It's just about how he levels out against the field of other guards. Can he rise in any given year and make another All-Star team? That's up to him. But, his talent is there. And now that he's with the Lakers again, it's a different thing. He should be able to get a little more cachet, a little more energy, a lot more opportunities to shine. So, I'm a firm believer that in a perfect world, you want both of those players. But it comes down to just, do you have any shot of guarding anybody if you slap them both together? And I don't know that you do. I do not know that you do. I know Anthony Davis can cover up a lot. Obviously, Vanderbilt's on the team that can cover up a lot. But perimeter defense is something that we're finding we're running into right now. Without Patrick Beverley, we are just having a hard time getting out there. And I don't know if that problem's going to go away. So if that's going to be our problem to end the season, I do not think people are going to think Kyrie Irving is the answer. I just don't think so. We would have to revamp our entire guard position again. And I don't know where we would go from there. I don't know. But for me, if it's up to me, I always want Kyrie on my team. We'll figure it out later. But for what they're priced at, it's going to be impossible to build properly if you're paying them both what they're supposed to be paid. That's not going to happen. So it is what it is, man. That is what it is. That's pretty much my thought. Everybody enjoy the game. Of course, I have stuff for you. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching.